How's it going, y'all? iNoobtacular here. I wanted to sit down and talk to you about team placement and positioning a little bit today. I know I talk about this topic sometimes, and this is the first game of the day that I had here, and I think that there's no better example of this here. So I am kind of making an unscripted video to show you guys more or less what's going on. It's gonna be a quick play-by-play of how the match plays out. And outside of that play-by-play, you should just get a general idea of, how I position teams and things that you should be thinking about when you want your Pokemon in certain places and in certain leads. So I'm gonna click the instant replay button here, and I'm gonna pause. And we're gonna go over a few things here, right? He had a couple of threatening things on his side of the board right off the rip. He had his Fluttermane, he had a Glimmora, he had a Chien-Pao, he had a Roaring Moon, he had the Tinkaton and the Ting-Lu, right? Okay. On my side, I have the Chi-Yu Fluttermane core. I have a Torkoal here for support. I have the Amoonguss for obvious support. I have a Slitherwing for late game cleanup. And I have a Sandy Shocks. I just changed the King Gambit off this team for that. Give me a quick minute, you guys here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have the King Gambit here. Well, I had the King Gambit here to support the Slitherwing, but it wasn't working out on this team, so I dropped it for Sandy Shocks to have a better matchup against some other special attackers and some fake out users. Yeah. Looking at his team, what I found the most glaring here is that he could lead Roaring Moon, put Chien-Pao. I figured this would be able to set up a Tailwind while he can put some offense down with this mon here. I also thought that he had a good thing going with Fluttermane plus Tinkaton. And, just looking at it, I figured the Tinkaton would be the thing that would be coming out here first. And looking at my team, I feel like with Fluttermane, I have a good matchup against this. I have a good matchup against this. If he lead Glimmora plus Tinkaton, that would be like worst case scenario, but it's not the end of the world. So I figured I'd lead my Flutter here. I'd try to get the speed control, and in worst case scenario, I can redirect and attack a single attack into my Amoonguss, which is what I led, to just get the speed control and set up for Torkoal plus Slitherwing later on in the game. So as you can see, we formed a full game plan, and this is how we're going to be positioning around, right? We go Tinkaton plus Ting-Lu. I got very fortunate here. If he leaded the Glimmora, I would have been in a really trash position. Because, the best I could do is Spore the Glimmora, right? Our Amoonguss actually has Covert Cloak, which means that we're not going to be taking any damage from the Fake Out. And Ting-Lu as well as Amoonguss are both base 30 speed, if I'm not mistaken. So this puts us in a really good position where we're playing from the we're playing ahead of the opponent, essentially, right? So he has Mold Breaker, Vessels of Ruin. This weakens a special attack. I'm not too worried about that. And yeah, Photosynthesis to boost my speed. He goes for the Fake Out. We're Covert Cloak. It doesn't bother us. So we're going to go for the Icy Wind here. Drop both of their speed. And we're going to put ourselves in a position to get the Spore off. Go for the Moonblast here. Get some really juicy damage. He goes for Gigaton Hammer. This is fine. Fluttermane kind of did his job. The Ting-Lu is pretty much in a bad position. I'm not too worried about what happened there. I could have switched to Torkoal early, predicting the Gigaton Hammer. But I didn't feel that I was in a bad enough position to warrant it. From here, I went for the Heat Wave. So you can see the Tinkaton goes down. Now we have double status on the board here. I predicted the Roaring Moon doing this. So I Rage Powder up. Eat up this one Acrobatic here. And I'll trade the turn to go in for the Burn here. Which makes his Roaring Moon pretty much useless. As you can see, we also haven't used our Terra. So we can drop our Amoonguss here. And now he takes neutral damage from our Heat Wave. I could have Terra the Torkoal for more damage to maybe KO the Tinkaton earlier. But as you can see, I have Slitherwing here. I figured, hey, let's go Fire to reduce that that weakness to acrobatics. We'll get that. We'll go for the Flame Charge here. Boost our speed. We have the additional attack. Life Orb plus all this stuff here. We're going to go for that Heat Wave there. And whatever the last Pokemon is that he may have had on that team, I don't think it was going to stand up to whatever the next attack was that we were going for. Plus, with the Flame Charge boost here, we were going to outspeed him. So as you can see, we played the game methodically in a way that the positioning was just perfect. Everything was knocked out in the way that we dictated the pace right off the jump. I'm not saying that every game is going to work like this, but this is the idea that you want to go into when you're team building and when you're like trying to position things here. As you can see, I think that this is a perfect example because, you know, I'm totally fine with trading Pokemon if it means that it puts me in a position where the other things that he brings out are going to be crippled. In more hyper offensive teams, positioning may come down more to getting this thing here out, switching to a bulky pivot Pokemon, bring that in, and then once that's in, you can kind of just, you know, slow the opponent down, and once you've slowed them down, you can do other things there. But yeah, like here with a slower control-based team that has like, you know, offense on other fronts, it's not a big deal if you kind of just play for the KOs and stuff like that. Did I see the Gigaton Hammer coming? Yes. But it means I get Torkoal in for free. I put him in every single situation possible to where if he KOs something, the board state actually gets worse for him. Think about that the next time when you get into a match and you'll be bowling people over like this real easily. Thanks for watching. Peace.